Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So, since Scott Gimple and Robert Kirkman have both been talking a lot about Negan in Season 5 lately, I thought it was time to do a video about my top 10 picks for actors I think should play the role. They were pretty vague on how and when that would happen, but we can pick apart the clues as we go along. Since there is so much time before the new season starts, feel free to leave suggestions for future bonus videos in the comments below. Until I turn full-time YouTube creator, I can probably only do about one a week, but I'll try to make it like a regular Thursday or Friday thing. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. So, let's get started with this Negan whatnot by asking a really big question. What kind of an actor do we want for the role? Negan is without a doubt one of the worst, most casually sadistic people we've ever read about. Is there an actor out there that can pull that off? When I made this top 10 list, I tried to think only of actors that could 1. Hold screen time with Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus, and 2. Could kind of convey the comedy of the Negan character, and at the same time be incredibly violent. As awful as Negan is, I always kind of felt like we were meant to laugh at his cruel jokes, and then feel really awful about it, of course. Like, Robert Kirkman wants you to treat Negan like a sadistic comedian, so all these potential actors have to be funny, imposing, super evil, without looking like they're doing an impression of the Joker. So, let's get started. Number 10, paying homage to Robert Kirkman's comments, Jon Hamm. Everyone asks Kirkman about Negan all the time, and in a recent interview, he threw out Jon Hamm's name as a solid choice for the character, just because there's something of a physical resemblance, and Jon Hamm can kind of pull off that really imposing part. Negan has those really strong features, jet black hair, and he's super tall. Just picture Don Draper really pissed off with a baseball bat that he just happened to nickname Lucille. I think the other main reason that Kirkman threw Jon Hamm's name out there is that he can kind of hold back some of that violence behind his eyes, without literally just like punching someone every time he sees them. Any actor that has to play the part will obviously have to be as crazy as the Joker, but be able to hold it in. And Jon Hamm is just really good at making you afraid of him just by staring at you. Number 9, Henry Rollins. There was this old Walking Dead Comic-Con 2012 panel where the artist on the comic book, Charlie Adlard, said that Negan was actually based on Henry Rollins, both in his look and level of intensity. I haven't listened to Henry Rollins' music recently, but even if you don't know his music, just check him out on Sons of Anarchy. And as an interesting side note, Henry Rollins also has voiced characters on Batman the Brave and the Bold and Adventure Time. Number 8, James Purfoy, who's currently on The Following. He's done some comic book material before in Solomon Kane, but if he bulked up just a little bit and got a little more physical, he could totally pull off Negan. His villain on The Following is just a little more insidious than Negan, but it totally works. Everyone probably has their own opinion about how Negan is expressing his version of evil, but I always thought of his alignment as being lawful evil. Like, he has his own code and rules that he follows, and if you break them, instead of kicking you out of the group, he'll just slaughter you. There's also a lot of interesting father parallels between the Negan character and Rick's character that I feel that Purfoy could pull off. He could totally be an evil dad, just like, say Lucius Malfoy before Voldemort came along. Number 7, Patrick Warburton. Most people know him as the voice of Joe on Family Guy, but he's essentially a comedic actor that mostly plays large, imposing characters. He'd be perfect for the comedic aspects of Negan, like the endless F-bombs that he drops. He's also really good at using his size to be scary. I really like the idea of Negan having the voice of Joe from Family Guy, but here's a big question that I want you to answer in the comments. What kind of a voice do you think the comic book version of Negan has? Does he have a really big voice to match his big size, or is it softer or more high-pitched? Personally, I always viewed him as having a very deep, imposing voice. Number 6, Michael Madsen. He's the perfect mix of crazy and funny, so I had to put him on the list somewhere. But seriously, even in real life, he's like Gary Busey crazy. He's a little bit older than I see the character being, and he'd have to get in better shape, but the show does fudge the way people look sometimes if the actor's right for the part. David Morrissey, for example, didn't look anything like the comic book version of the Governor, but he was such an amazing actor that it totally worked. I have a feeling that Madsen is one of those actors that has to improvise a lot, so I think not being able to stick to the script might be a problem for him, especially when you're adapting a comic book that's already really good. I just don't think it's a really good idea to change a lot of the dialogue, especially if you're shooting scenes like straight off the page. Number 5, Nicolas Cage. Another crazy in real life actor that could totally pull it off on the show. Cage, despite some big box office bombs, is still relatively sought after for film roles, so his schedule might prevent him from doing the series, but if Negan isn't featured too often, it could totally work. In real life, I feel like if you actually ran into Nicolas Cage on, say, like a dark street in the middle of the night, you might actually mistake him for Negan in real life, because he just is that crazy. Number 4, Dominic West. He'd have to do it with an American accent, but I feel like you really need to see him on The Wire as Jimmy McNulty to really appreciate how good he is at making you like a character that's just awful. No one expects you to empathize with Negan, but there are moments when we're supposed to root for him, and that's going to be one of the hardest things for any actor that plays this role to do. I feel like if Walking Dead wants to be as successful going forward as it is right now, it's one of the most popular cable shows on TV, it's going to have a villain that you can root for every once in a while, and I think Dominic West can totally pull that off. Number 3, Taimo Pennicott. Right now he's doing a totally awesome job of playing an evil angel on Supernatural. Most people probably just remember him though as Hilo from Battlestar. I've actually enjoyed him more in the bad guy roles he's played since Battlestar. He's got the right look for it, the right physicality, and as a performer, he won't necessarily say outswing Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus or any of the other main cast members whenever they have to share screen time. I feel like it works a lot better whenever your characters are more equally matched, when it's hard to tell who the biggest badass is on screen, and in Season 5, it's going to be all about the return of Badass Rick. I think the thing that's actually going to end up making Negan seem like this insurmountable obstacle is going to be his gang. He's just one man, so if Daryl, Rick, Tyrese, and Abraham, say, jumped him all at the same time, he'd totally go down. But Negan has the saviors, his own evil version of the survivors. The other thing that I think makes Taimo Pennicott, say, a more realistic choice for the role is that he's much more attainable for the show as an actor, as opposed to, say, like Nicolas Cage, who's been an A-list actor and is probably way more expensive and way less available. Number 2, one of my favorite psychopaths, Ray Stevenson. He was a very, very bloody version of the Punisher, but imagine a cross between that character and his character from Dexter. Both psychopaths, just like Negan, but much more balanced in terms of the amount of dialogue and the violence. Negan, unlike the Punisher, has to talk a lot. Steven's got all the same physical requirements as a lot of those other choices, but he's also just an amazingly underappreciated actor. If you haven't seen it yet, you should totally watch his season of Dexter. It wasn't the last one, I think it was season 7. He was actually one of the best villains that show ever had. And as an added bonus, we know that he can do that over-the-top, Punisher-level violence. And whether you love or hate crazy violence, Negan is going to have to go there at some point. Based on what Scott Gimple said, Negan's first appearance is going to be very brief, so I think it's going to be like season 6 before we see any major horror montages with him and the Saviors, or maybe as like a season 5 cliffhanger reveal. I can totally understand the producers wanting to wait to let this dog out of his cage. But my number 1 pick for Negan, Bill Paxton. 2 words, Hail Hydra. Seriously, what's the best part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now? Evil Bill Paxton. Even though the writing on Kirkman's Walking Dead books is totally different from the types of things you see in Marvel books, it totally works. Just a more sadistic version of the Garrett character he's playing right now, and one with, a lot more F-bombs casually dropped into conversation. Sometimes big actors like Bill Paxton don't want to play villains in back-to-back roles, but if he's been able to do so much with a C-level character like Garrett on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just think what he could do with an epic villain like Negan on Walking Dead. The thing I like about Bill Paxton the most is that he makes you enjoy watching asshole characters, and Negan is like the ultimate asshole. I think the really big question that we need to ask though is what kind of show is it going to be whenever Negan does appear? Because Scott Gimple has been pretty clear that season to season, the show completely changes. So like season 3 Walking Dead is a completely different show from season 4, and so on and so on. Negan's character has this really comedic element to him that the show is going to have to accommodate. And right now, Walking Dead is definitely not full of laughable moments. The closest thing recently was when you got Carl eating pudding on the roof. And that was more a moment of relief than, say, like a laugh out loud funny moment. Whenever Negan does show up, I feel like there's only going to be 2 viable emotional responses. You can either, 1, choose to laugh at his evil just because he's so over the top and ridiculous, or you can just cry because what he does is so horrible. I suppose you could try to do both at the same time though. But now it's your turn. Let me know, who is your favorite choice to play Negan? And like I said, he's probably not going to show up till maybe like the second half of season 5, and even then very briefly, so what we see of him in the next year is going to be very, very little. In related news, while I work on my next Walking Dead bonus video, be sure to leave me suggestions for future topics. We have so many more weeks before season 5 premieres, so there's lots of opportunities and a lot of things we can talk about. Right now, you can click here to get my season 5 predictions, and you can click here to watch my finale video again. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. High fives.